Well, let's focus on Manchester United with Clinton and with Dave. Bruno Fernandes has been available and featured in 308 out of the 325 games since joining United in January 2020. How do they cope without him?
I don't think they can cope without him. I think he's a special player. He goes under the radar, Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a top player. I think a lot of people are so critical of him because he throws his arms in the air and stuff like that. But that record you just said there, Rob, testament to himself, how he looks after himself day in, day out, does his proper training, and he's been fortunate enough. But you saw yesterday, as soon as he never really picks up injuries, as soon as he stopped and John McGinn kicked the ball out of play, he still continued though for 5-6 minutes. So I think most Man United fans will be hoping that it's not as bad and maybe it's just a little tweak and he could be back in a couple of weeks, because they are going to need him in this busy period. Because I don't think Mason Mount's a top player, but can he drop into that midfield and do the job Bruno Fernandes? I'm not quite sure of it. So I think it's a huge blow for them. He's the captain, he's the leader, and when they need him sometimes he produces, like last week, the big free kick against Bournemouth. So as I said, fantastic player, and they will miss him.
It is a step into the unknown for United at the moment. Over the last 5 years, as an outfield player, only James Tarkowski has played more minutes than Bruno Fernandes. His durability is absolutely astonishing, really, for a player in his position as well, for the ground that he covers, for the way he has lifted up that Manchester United side since he joined the club. So it's a step into the unknown, because these players around him have not had to deal with a situation where they turn around and Bruno Fernandes isn't there.
Well, interesting as well that you mentioned when we were talking about January for United that one of the key areas to look at might be a defensive midfielder, and you said, well, how do some of those United midfielders cope without Bruno? Even with him there, someone like Ugarte struggled again yesterday. Yeah,
his Premier League record, it's really not very nice. I think in the last 9...
You're being nice.
That's very polite, Dave.
Not very nice.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. I think in the last 9 games that he has started, Manchester United have failed to win. So 0 wins, 1 draw, 8 games lost and 16 goals conceded. Obviously, he came in for Casemiro, who was suspended for the game against Aston Villa. And you can... This is the one really where you want your midfielder to turn and carry the ball forward, but he's caught in possession. The speed of thought is a little bit slower, and Villa are able to counter-attack on that occasion. And really, his passing range isn't particularly suited to that defensive midfield position. There was one point in that first half where he simply booted the ball out of play when he was trying to make a switch. This is the one I'm talking about here. And it feels a little bit unreliable, him, in terms of his passing range in that single run. Maybe he could move forward. He did move forward against Aston Villa yesterday when Lisandro Martinez came on and he played as the deepest midfielder. But with Casemiro back, maybe from United's perspective, they go, well, let's move Mason Mount in there. Maybe Kobbie Mainoo, we're not sure on his fitness for the next game. But there's possibilities there for Ruben Amorim to replace Bruno Fernandes.
Interesting, you touched on Kobbie Mainoo there, who was absent with injury yesterday. We did see Jack Fletcher and young Shea Lacey come onto the field, but in and around some interesting comments from Ruben Amorim about the academy. He's saying the players sometimes forget about what it means to play for Manchester United. We as a club sometimes forget who we are, and that's the feeling I have. I understand everything is the environment, is the moment of the players, the kids, they feel entitled. Do you think that is aimed in particular at Kobbie Mainoo, or is that a general point from Ruben Amorim?
No, I think it's just a general point. I think, and 2 of the youngsters who are out on loan must have posted stuff on social media as well after it, and then soon deleted it and stuff like that. Listen, he probably gets asked questions upon questions about using some of the youngsters from the academy and develop and coming through. And I do believe more football clubs should be looking at their youngsters.
But only if they're good enough. And I think
not only if they're good enough.
They shouldn't roll into training.
No, they shouldn't roll into training expecting that you're going to be in the first team. You have to earn the right at Man United. All them years ago when Sir Alex Ferguson done it, those were top players that earned their right to go into that first team squad. And they all produced and they all were successful and top players without a shadow of doubt. I think more likely it's Kobbie Mainoo. And I don't get the Kobbie Mainoo situation, because a year and a half ago he was starring for England and playing ever so well. Now he can't even get a start, and we're talking no disrespect to Ugarte. And it would have been very interesting to see if Kobbie Mainoo was fit, if he had played him with Bruno Fernandes. I think he deserves an opportunity. If you're not going to play Kobbie Mainoo, when he came on the other day against Wolves, Man United fans were buzzing to see one of their own get on the football pitch. If you're not going to play him, Let him go in January. There'll be a lot of suitors ready to take Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's an exciting
That's not going to happen
player.
now that Bruno's injured.
Well, of course it's not going to happen. Well, then give him an opportunity. And I don't mean give him an opportunity where you're giving him one game. Give him a run of games. He hasn't played for ages. Give him 6, 7 games in a row and let him show his ability, because I still think he's got huge potential at the moment. But you have to earn the right to get into that Man United team. I agree with what he's saying there with some of the youngsters, but not with Kobbie Mainoo. He deserves to be given more of a chance.
So who will fill the void left by Bruno Fernandes when Manchester United next play, which is on Boxing Day? Always a good game, this one, up against Newcastle. Live coverage gets underway 7:30 on Sky Sports. Let's start, though, with the future of the Bournemouth forward, Antoine Semenyo. Dave Reed and Clinton Morrison are still alongside me. What do we know then today, Dave, as to the latest news on this one?
Well, what we understand at Sky Sports News is that a decision on Antoine Semenyo's future could be made as soon as today. Not absolutely certain that that will happen, but certainly the indication that we have had is that there could well be a decision made on his future today. Manchester City, Manchester United, front of the queue for the player. But it's interesting because of the developments over the weekend with Alexander Isak and his injury. Liverpool also said to be considering their options and a potential move for Antoine Semenyo. They've got a little bit of juggling to do as to whether they decide to go in. The interesting thing is that Semenyo has a release clause which becomes active in January. It's around 60 plus £5 million, which is active for the first half of the month, and then it becomes inactive. It allows Bournemouth then time to bring in another player. And the interesting thing is that that release clause drops slightly when we get to the summer transfer window. The thinking is that potentially Bournemouth have a little bit of extra time when it comes to the summer in order to find a replacement. But certainly at the moment, it's on a bit of a knife edge where he might end up come this January window if he does indeed go anywhere.
It's a nice set of options for him to have, the sort of options that he has earned with some excellent form this season. Where do you think he will end up? And if you were him, and all three of those clubs remained at the table right towards the end of it, which they might not, where would you opt for?
Wow, that's a big question. I'd go to where I want to play football and where I feel they're going to improve my game and I've got the best manager in the world. So I'd go to Man City. In my eyes, I'd go to Man City. Will Pep Guardiola be there at the end of the season? You've got to weigh up all these options if you're a player signing for Man City. I think he's a tremendous player. I think at the moment Man City have an injury to Doku. So his most likely place he would be at the moment, in my eyes, would probably be Man United or Liverpool. I think Liverpool, he kind of knows Richard Hughes. Richard Hughes used to be at Bournemouth, and obviously will know Semenyo. And I think Liverpool will link to him in the summer. So I'd be surprised if Liverpool didn't come in for him. But they have to see they spent a lot of money in the summer. So obviously they have to see the books and if they can make the deal happen. But I think you'd go to any one of those clubs. They're all top clubs, but obviously Man City are flying and got a chance of winning the Premier League if they're interested in you. But it's whoever pays the money. Man United's a good shout. He'll get into that Man United team.
How do Man United, with the system, and there's an interesting piece today about Kobbie Mainoo not getting as many opportunities because how rigid Ruben Amorim is with the team he selects and how he sets them up. Where do you think Man United would use him?
It's different because Semenyo, when he plays for Bournemouth, plays as a winger.
Yeah.
Man United plays 10s. So he will need to adapt his game and be one of the 10. And that's the only way I can see him playing is one of them 10. So if he plays in one of those 10s, it will either be Cunha, I think that pushes up to the number 9, or Mbeumo. It's a decision. It's a hard decision because or Mbeumo. I think Šeško would miss out at this moment in time.
And Mount would
I think Mount can go and play in one of those centre midfield roles. I think Mason Mount's been very good recently. But what you need at Man United is competition for places. You saw the other night against Aston Villa, Bruno Fernandes gets injured. Who else is going to create chances? I do think Mason Mount can play that role, but it's a big call. But I know Ruben Amorim, when they played them recently, spoke before the game how much he admires Semenyo. When a manager comes out and says how much he admires him, I think it's a good signing. And you lot would take him at your ground, wouldn't you? Villa.
But I'm not sure Villa have the finances.
That's what I'm saying. It's not the finances. Yeah.
The priority, I think, certainly from when we speak to Manchester United fans, is you've got to go and get a defensive midfielder in.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone who can turn, who can play on the half turn and pass the ball forward. That feels like a priority. Then you look at the sheer number of goals that United are conceding right now, and you think, well, can they go and get a centre-back? It feels like they've pumped a lot of money into forward areas. And the thing with Semenyo is, and I'm interested in your thoughts here, Clinton, if Man United ring up Semenyo's agent and say, we'd love to buy him, we think he's great, we've been watching him for a long time, possibility, though, he's going to play a few games at wing-back. What do you say to that as Antoine Semenyo's agent?
No, I don't. It's a difficult one because it's Man United Football Club. So at the end of the day, you go, it's a huge football club. So if a club like that comes in for you, I understand what you're saying, but he's not a wing back. That's not his position. So if you want to sign a player, you play him in the position you think he is, which is a number 10, or he can play as a centre forward. I've seen him do it at Bristol City before, but I think he's better in one of them wide areas. Ruben Amorim's shape might not suit Antoine Semenyo, but Semenyo, when a club like Man United come knocking, you don't turn it down. But if you sign Antoine Semenyo and you play him as a wing back, you're wasting his talent because he's better up the field. We know he can carry the ball up the field, so people will say, oh, he can do a job at wing back, but for me, he's better in one of those 10 rows in that front three. So it's a big one. But do Man City go and sign him? Do Liverpool? Me personally, I look at it and I think Liverpool need him. Man City have got loads of great attacking options. He might not play week in, week out, and he might not do that at Liverpool. But I think at this moment in time, with what's happened to Isak, I think Liverpool might come knocking on the door. But listen, he's been fantastic. It's great to have three of the biggest clubs in world football chasing you. But he deserves it, the young man. I think he's been outstanding. And listen, Bournemouth don't want him to leave, but they're going to make some good money on him.
Well, Manchester United missing a few key players for various reasons at the moment. The injury to their captain, Bruno Fernandes, one of the topics we touched on with Jamie